All right, let's talk about page 14. Now, page 14 has you doing two different things. First of all, we're going to do this thing we did before, where we find the percent of a number, and then you're going to be finding the number of a percent. So it's kind of opposites. It's all stuff we've already learned, though. So it's from the lesson on percent of a number, and it's also from the lesson on finding the percent. So let's take a look at exercise A. All of the questions in exercise A are done the exact same way. So let's go over and do a couple examples. Exercise A, number 1. So, actually, let's just do that. Don't forget this is exercise A. All right, number 1, I have 22% of 36. So now you're finding the percent of a number. This is from 2 lessons ago. Find percent of a number. Step 1, take your percent and change it to a decimal by dividing by 100. Move that decimal 2 spots over so that 22% becomes 0.22 or 22 hundredths. Now that you have your decimal, step 2, you take your decimal and you multiply it by the number that you're working with. So, step 2, take your 0.22 and multiply it with your 36 to find the percent of 36. So, 6 times 2 is 12, carry your 1. 6 times 2 is 12 again, plus the 1 is 13, carry your 1. 6 times 0 is 0, plus the 1 that you carried is 1. Then you put your x, and you do the same thing with the 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 0 is 0. And you add them up. So I've got 2, 9, 7, 0. Don't forget to add your decimal in. So I've got 2 decimal spots. So I'm going to have 2 decimal spots. 7.92 or 7 92 hundredths. So I go back over and I write my little answer. Therefore, 22% of 36 is 7 92 hundredths. This is exactly how you're going to do every single question from 1 to 21. So from 1 to 21, 2 steps. Take your percent, change it to a decimal by dividing by 100. Then you take that decimal you just figured out and you multiply it with the number that you're working with from the question. And then you write your answer. So all of exercise A should look like this. Let's talk about exercise B. So for exercise B, let's talk about number 1. What number is 23% of 8? So, 23% of 8. There we go. So you're going to do the same thing. This is exactly the same way. You take your percent, and then you're going to change it into a decimal. So, step 1, 23% equals some kind of decimal. So don't forget to change your percent to a decimal. You divide by 100, Whenever you don't have a decimal, you put it at the back, and then you move 2 spots to the left. So I have 0.23. Step 2 is you take that decimal and you multiply it with the number that you're working with. It's exactly the same as exercise A. So 0.23 times 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 2 is 16, plus the 2 that you carried is 18, carrier 1. 8 times 0 is 0, plus the 1 that you carried. Now there's no other number, so that's it, just one answer line. Don't forget, you've got 2 decimal spots in your question, so you'll have 2 decimal spots in your answer. Therefore, 23% of 8 is 1/84. All right. Questions? If you have questions about how to do exercise A or exercise B, then just get in touch with me, please.